They, for example, just can't get the 8 in each band for English, so they lose 10 to the other applicants who have 10 points more, but they have way more experience and they're super, super talented. And I guess that's what the Global Talent Visa program is for. The Global Talent Visa program is very, very high caliber. So we need something in between. So that's a very general, broad overview of the skilled visas. I've done many videos on the skilled visas and the different state requirements, so you can have a look at those videos. I'll drop the link to those videos below. The other two options you have is employer sponsorship. So first of all, you have the temporary skills shortage 482 visa. That visa is not permanent residence. However, it will lead to permanent residence basically. And it's faster processing time. And it is the program that a lot of companies use in Australia. So I highly recommend it. If you are looking to come to Australia and the employer offers you 482, I definitely think take it because there's always visa pathways. And obviously it's a lot easier if you're onshore to apply for permanent residency, I think. I think they do prioritize onshore applicants first, which absolutely makes sense. So for the 482 visa, have the relevant qualification plus 2 years full-time work experience. That work experience does not have to be post-qualification. It can be pre-qualification, and you must meet English, health, character requirements. And yes, for this visa stream, the employer is heavily involved, and you need that employer to support your application. So they have to be willing to sponsor you, willing to pay the fees and all of that. So yes, that is a hurdle, and a lot of people think it's very hard. But if you weigh up the two, skilled visa is just as hard because you can go and do all these things and you have to wait for an invitation. And I must say sometimes it's got to do with luck. 482, yes, you have to go find the employer, you have to do this and that. But once that's all done, and once you do meet the requirements, you lodge your application, you have your lawyers that help you do it, making sure you're ticking off all the boxes, it's a very, very high chance you'll get the visa. You better come to Australia and plan your future. So a lot of people are waiting for an invitation for skilled visas, but I really think there's a lot of benefits if you focus on finding an employer to sponsor you. And I can't say this enough, employers are always looking for skilled workers. I just had 2 meetings this morning, one with a client who owns restaurants, wanted to bring chefs to Australia because he just couldn't find chefs here in Australia. Another one owned veterinary clinics and wanted to find vets to work in his veterinary clinic. So there's always the demand there. You just got to look to the right place. And when you're spending all your time and energy on so many things, then basically if your occupation is on the medium term list, if you spend 3 years on that 482 visa in Australia, then you can transfer to the 186, which is permanent residency. I've got a full video of the temporary residence transition stream, so I'll drop that in the link below as well. And then finally, one of the other really good ones would definitely be the 186 direct entry. Direct entry being for permanent residency. You can apply for this onshore or offshore, obviously. Again, the employer is heavily involved in this process. They have to be willing to sponsor you, make the application, and also pay the fees. And the fees are never, cheap. With that one, you need to have the relevant qualification plus 3 years post-qualification work experience in that occupation. You must have a skills assessment as well. You must meet the character, health, and English requirements. A lot of people ask me about this visa. Their employer is willing to sponsor them. How do they go about it? Other than those requirements, 3 years full-time work experience and all of that, I think that is a great visa, especially if you're working for a larger company. But do always know that with any of these employer-sponsored visas, the employer, their application part, they have to prove that there's a genuine need for the sponsorship. And I think a lot of people went ahead and companies went ahead and sponsored people, and there was some non-genuine applications going around, so the department really started to scrutinize them. So just remember that risk, a little bit of risk is always there. Get the advice from your migration agents and lawyers, and they will be able to advise you accordingly and advise you of the risks involved with that one. And obviously with this one, you can only do it if you have an occupation on the medium term list. However, a lot of IT occupations are on the medium term list. So basically, if I was having a consultation with a client who was an IT professional, that is basically the visa types I would go through with them. I think at the end of the day, it's really important to identify if you had the relevant ICT degree, if you have the relevant ICT work experience, and then which visa subclass would be the best. For us, we always prioritize the employee sponsorship because it's a sure shot. You just have to make sure they meet the requirements from every end, and then you can basically apply, and we should get the grant within X amount of time. However, skilled visa, although you don't need an employer to support you in the application, it's hard because it's dependent on skilling occupations, it's dependent on the trends in Australia, it's dependent on how many applicants there are. And guys, I'm telling you, there is something like 100,000 skill select applications. There's 100,000 expression of interest sitting there waiting to be invited. So just think about how lucky you'd have to be to actually get invited. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you guys are interested in any other videos or anything you'd like to learn about, please drop your comments below and I will do my best to get to them. Thank you for watching. My name is Tracy Chen and I will see you guys in the next video.